Aloha artists, Miss Maggie here. Today I want to tell you something from the heart. I want to tell you that each of you are loved, that you matter. Each of you has a gift inside your heart. Not the kind with a bow, but something to give the world. Sharing who you are really at your heart is your gift. But each of you has a unique way of showing it, a gift that is one of a kind. Maybe it's in how you care for others. Maybe it's in how you support your teammates or how you express yourself or how you take care of our island and of the animals. Or perhaps your dreams for the scientific discoveries you will make someday. Your job is this. Think, why do you matter? Last week, we learned a way to draw people in action. Use that tool to show us, to draw yourself in action. Show, in today's work of art, why you matter. I matter because is the theme of this year's Reflections contest. Through our school's PTA, you can enter artwork that you make on this theme. You can also enter photography and writing and performances and music and more. But with me, of course, we're going to be working on a piece of artwork.
Here are the supplies that you're going to want. You are going to want one large drawing paper and also one large watercolor paper. Now, the new art supplies that got sent home, the large ones aren't quite as large. I recommend the bigger one, but whatever you have works. Now, if you are going to use the smaller type, then I recommend taking your drawing paper and your pencil and tracing the size of the watercolor paper, because this is going to be for the draft and this is going to be for your final. But if you're using one that's the same size, all good. So, drawing paper, watercolor paper, and you're going to need a pencil, of course, and an eraser and a Sharpie. But actually, if you have something that's even finer tipped, like a extra fine tip one or a gel pen or some other black fine tip pen that won't smudge if it gets wet, because we are going to paint, then that's even better. And a ruler, definitely a ruler. And since we are going to paint, you are going to want watercolor brush, napkin, and water. So, these are the supplies that we're going to need. Go find them and come and meet me right back here. At the beginning of this video, I talked about the gift you have inside that you give the world and ways that you show that you matter. I know that you do. But what is your way? What are you going to show? And so I was thinking about mine. And I was thinking, I matter because I help people see and express how beautiful the world is. Painting outside is one of my favorite things, and helping other people draw and paint beautiful nature is my most favorite thing. So that's mine. What's yours? Think about what that is, and let's put an idea into your body, okay? Let's do a snapshot.
So stand up, find yourself in neutral position with your arms at your side, calm body.
So you're going to freeze in a position showing how you matter. 3, 2, 1, freeze. Now look at your legs. Are they in an interesting shape? Are your arms in interesting shape? What is your head doing? Now, I know I can't see you, but if you're doing this, it's going to help you make your art. Trust me. and relax. Let's try one more idea. Either improve on your first idea or come up with a new one.
Use a snapshot, a frozen picture with your body to show why you matter.
3, 2, 1, freeze.
Pay attention to what your arms and your legs and your back and your focal point are doing, because you're going to draw yourself next, and all these details can help show what you're doing that shows why you matter. And relax and take a seat. We'll start drawing next.
So I have my drawing paper here. That's where I'm going to do all the problem solving, all the sketching, all the figuring out what's actually in the artwork and where it's going to go, and especially what size is it going to be. Last week, when we learned to draw a person, we used proportion. We looked at the fact that their head was 1 unit, and in this case, we made it 1 inch. And so that meant that their body was 2 units. Their top of their leg, hip to the knee, was 2 units. Knee to the ankle, 1 unit, 2 units. And their other leg, also 2 units to the knee and 2 units to the ankle. Their shoulders was 1 unit, and then their arms were 1 unit to the elbow and 1 unit there. And you can look at last week's video if you want a refresher, or also the other documents that I shared with you, so that you can remember and follow along. How do we figure this out? I want you to imagine what you're seeing is. Where are you? Who is there with you? How are you being truly yourself and doing something that shows that you matter? Because I am going to be painting at the beach and teaching a friend how to enjoy nature by painting at the beach. And so I'm going to sit over here. And so my head, I think it's going to be about this high. I'm making this picture horizontal, by the way. And so I'm going to do my head 1 inch. That's how big I'm going to do mine. Now, there's my head. Now I'm going to think, what's my body doing? I can actually put myself in that position. I'm sitting on some rocks at Ho'okipa, I think, down on the point. Not just on the sand, but on the point. And so I think my feet are going to be up a little bit. I'm leaning over. I'm always finding these spots that have just the perfect view, but are a little uncomfortable. But my head's straight up because I'm looking out. And I'm going to do 1, 2 units for the body, right? And then for the legs, 1, 2 to the knee. 1, 2 to the foot. And I've got another leg here. Let's see. 1, 2. Ooh, they're overlapping. Does that work? It does. Watch, just keep going. I'm going to make this leg go down a little further. It's going to bend like this. 1, 2. See my interesting stick figure? I'm going to be sitting on a rock that's kind of like that. It'll work. And so my neck is right about there. Remember, just a little bit down from the head. And then across right here, I'm going to do my shoulders. I can decide if my shoulders are at an angle. Just like I decided if my spine was at an angle, my shoulders are going to be bent a little bit like this. And then my arms. It's 1 unit to the elbow, and then 1 unit coming down. And then the other arm, I'm going to go out like this and out like this. This hand's going to be holding the paintbrush up. This hand is going to be holding on to my art board. See this here? I use this and I clip my art to it, and that is what I use when I'm painting on site, along with this set of paints. And so I'm going to have those in the picture. And so that's how I'm going to be on here. And before I go any further, I'm going to have a friend in here too, because remember, I'm sharing how I do this with someone else. Before I draw them, I got a little distracted drawing where I am, but that helps me think, well, where is my friend going to be sitting? And so I'm picturing Hokipa down on the point on the rocks. I'm picturing a day where the waves aren't big at all, so we can sit right by the water, but I can see up the hill behind me and also into Hokipa Bay with the pavilion and where the turtles hang out. And I'm thinking, well, really, what do those rocks look like? Okay, I know I need my other person over here. So I'm going to draw them. They're going to be down here. Their head is going to be a unit. And if I wanted to make the person really farther away, I could make it a smaller unit because they're farther away. That's what happens when things get farther away. But I'm going to keep it simple for us right now and make it the same. 1, 2 for the body. See, you're getting a lot of practice with me. I told you you would. And then they're going to be sitting over here. 1, 2 to the knee. And 1, 2 to the foot. And I might have to change the rocks again. But I think that's working. And I need the other leg. 1, 2 to the knee. And 1, 2 to the foot. See how even sitting is pretty active when you think about what our bodies are actually doing. Everyone's going to sit a little bit differently, especially if you're sitting on rocks instead of a chair. And there's the shoulders, 1 unit straight across, a little bit below the head. And they need their hand that is holding the paintbrush. And their other hand, 1, 2 units. We'll go down like that. Let's check our people before we go any further. Double check how their proportion is doing, because if you catch it at this time, you're good. So remember, head is 1 unit. Body from the neck to the hips is 1 unit, 2 units. Legs are 2 units to the knee. 1 unit, 2 units to the knee, and then 1, 2 to the ankle. Check the other leg too. 1, 2 to the knee. 1, 2 to the ankle. Arms, you've got the shoulders are 1 unit, and you can angle it if you need to, and then 1 unit to the elbow, 1 unit to the wrist. Check that you're doing it actually really 1 unit, and 1 unit there, and 1 unit there. And so my other person, I'm doing it too. The legs are where students forget the most. Our legs are a lot longer than we think. Okay, if you've got this, then you're ready for the next part. Let's add our joints. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips are larger, knees, ankles, knees, ankles. See that one there? That's actually the knee. And the other leg is going to disappear behind it. You can put whichever leg in front that you want, but there are spots. We're going to have parts of the body overlapping. I think you're getting ready for that level of drawing with people in proportion. Don't forget the rib cage. Okay, did you get all the joints? All the places where our body moves? Make sure those circles are in there. Remember the hips? Remember the rib cage. It's not a joint, but it's a big area we want to put in. And then add in the muscles. They're going from section to section, from circle to circle. And this is what I go, oh, well, that arm is going to go in front of the tummy. It's not inside the tummy. It's going in front of the tummy. And I'll fix it more later, but see how that's starting to work? And this leg is going to go in front, and this leg would come right from there, but it's going to disappear behind. See how I'm drawing it lightly right over? But really, it's going to be behind. Let's see again on this person. Okay, neck is easy. Shoulders. Oh, I forgot some joints. Let's see what I'm saying. I forgot some spots. There we go. Got that. This part is going to go in front of the body. And so I can fill in there. And which leg's in front? I can't tell yet. I get to decide. I'm going to make this leg in front. And this leg go behind. You can only see it a little bit. So that means see how all this drawing and erasing, you will get there. It will come together. I think it's getting there. Now, hands and feet, and turn them into real people. And here's the thing. I know this is a lot of work, and it's just our draft paper, but I will give you a trick for transferring it over. And really, this paper, we get to figure everything out ahead of time before you're on your watercolor paper. And so see there, that person's holding on that, and it's going to have the board over here. I'm holding on to my art board right there. And I'm going to start putting the clothes on. I'm going to put a tank top on because I am at the beach. And clothes goes around the body. See how that arm is going in front of the clothes? Right like that. I've got it in front of the clothes. And I'm going to make this arm look real now too, just by putting in the lines that I want and not the lines that were the skeleton and the muscles and the joints and all the things that helped me get the lines that I want. And that leg is hiding behind my artboard. You might be holding something or doing something that's covering up some of your body, but it helped everything get in the right spot by doing those guidelines. There we go. Got that. Got my legs. Put some slippers on there. Now, I just need to make my face look like me, right? I don't have a blank face like that. Okay, I'm looking that way. So I'm going to do my eyes in the center of my head, looking where I am going. So that means that I do like a carrot, and then I put the eyeballs in. And you don't have to do eyes like that, but I do it that way when I want to show that I'm looking in one direction or another. And then hair is bigger than the head. Whoops, ear's not that big. So it's bigger than the head, and it's going to be windy out. So I'll have my hair blowing there. And there we go. I am painting and talking, and I just need to make my friend look real now, right? Let's see how that goes. Giving them some feet, because I didn't get feet yet. I'm going to have to change where the rocks are. Put a rock there. A big rock going down like that. I'll make the water below that. I think, like I said, there's not much surf today because we're sitting really close to the water instead of getting splashed. Okay. And so my person's going to wear a tank top too. And I'm going to take the lines out of the center of the arms so that I can see where are those arms? Where do they really go? And what's great is if you practice drawing this way a lot, you start to not have to do all the guidelines, but it takes a little bit to get there. Keep going. And this way of drawing people will give you an understanding of proportion that you can mold into your own way of drawing people. Okay, so they've got their artboard too, and put shorts on them. And this person's looking back at me. So see how the eyes are looking back that way. Eyebrows are always important. And get some different sort of hair. And where else do I have extra lines there? Okay. And with that, got that there. And of course, if your people are bigger, if they have big muscles, then all you had to do along the way was, when you drew the muscles, make them larger. You can have people be whatever size you want them to be. We have the same pattern, but we all have the details that make us each unique. So you can put those in while still using this way of drawing that gets you the overall pattern and proportion, okay? We are all approximately this same pattern here. So that is my plan for my artwork. That is my draft. When you think you have this part done, stop, stand up, and look at it from a distance. What do you notice? What parts are you happy with? What parts are still bugging you? Do you have any ideas for what can make those parts better? Maybe there's someone around who has some what ifs for your drawing. You don't need them to tell you how you should paint it yet, because we're not at that stage yet. But look and see, is there anything to add to your drawing that will tell people who look at it why you matter? What are you doing that helps that out? Okay? Think about that. Maybe there's some details you can add. This is your chance to think that out, because once this is all figured out, Then we're going to transfer it to your watercolor paper. And what's great about that is that if you have a window, you don't have to draw it again. All you need is a little bit of tape. And I'm going to use a little bit of this blue tape here. And so what I'm going to do is put a little bit of tape on here. And then
I have my drawing that I made stuck to a sliding glass door. Any window will work. It's better if it's sunny outside, but it's not sunny outside and it's still working for me because see, I put this new paper right over the top of it, and as long as it's bright outside, you can even see through the watercolor paper. And I taped that just in the right spot. And now I am going to go over all the lines that I see. And if some spots are hard to see, then you can wait for those ones for later. But you want to look closely as you can, and I bet you'll find those details. This is a bit of work, but it sure is easier than drawing it again. And any of those spots that you worked a whole lot and you were erasing and maybe it looks like you almost have a hole in the paper, well, all that hard work is going to be hidden, and you're going to have a piece that just shows how beautiful this creation is. Take your time. Find those details. And because this is pencil, you can still fix anything after you've traced it. That is most of the details, and I can fix it even more once I take it down and look at it on my desk.
So this is my tracing. It still needs a little bit of work, but oh my goodness, I didn't have to draw the whole thing again. Isn't that great? Okay, so let me just look at it and go, well, where does it need a little bit of help? Like, I don't like how her mouth came out, so I'm going to fix that and maybe a little bit on my nose and mouth there. And I kind of left out this part over here, which I didn't work on very well the first time. That's where I got lazy. So you got to catch those spots sooner or later, right? And I think it's pretty close. Now, I said that if you can find a Sharpie that instead of being the fine tip is the ultra fine point, those sorts of pens are useful. If you don't have one, that's all right. We can still use this. It's just for little details, like in the face, you might just want to use your pencil hard and dark, okay? You decide. I'm going to use the thick Sharpie because I know that's what most people have. And so we'll see how that goes. And I am now going to Sharpie all of my lines. See how for the face, it's a little much. Like my mouth looks like it's a little much. But, so, if you're going to use the thick Sharpie, just be gentle. Don't press hard. And if you've got areas with lots of details, just pick some of the details to Sharpie, okay? This is starting to look bold and exciting. I love that my person, everything is in the right spot because of all that hard work that I did. I've got the shirt, I've got shorts, I've got another leg behind the other things, and I'm going to Sharpie me. Again, same thing, I'm doing the top of the eye and the eyeball, and then it doesn't become a big black hole. That's not what I want. And I know yours is a very different piece because yours is about you doing something very different. Because remember, each of us has their own gift. And so I really look forward to finding out what yours is. And I hope that seeing me draw this just gives you the ideas and the skills to be able to do your own. So see how those details are small? It's because they're far away. They're in the distance. They're in the background, right? There's Haleakala and some clouds there. And so I have my whole artwork Sharpied. When your whole artwork is Sharpied, I don't need the tape anymore. I'm going to erase those pencil lines. See, the step by step, we're going to get to a work of art that is worth displaying and celebrating and entering in the Reflections program too. The way I erase is I put my hand down on the low part and then I push away with the eraser. Okay, double check. Did you Sharpie everything? Did you erase everything? If that's true, you are ready to paint. How are you going to color this so that the most important details are the focal point? I'm going to make sure that my foreground is really bold and my background is really soft. And so when I paint, I'm going to want to think about that. Remember, when you paint, use your paintbrush carefully. Keep that nice tip. Give it a hug there. Hold it like a pencil. Hold it on the metal part. Keep a napkin nearby. And with that, I'm going to think about what colors I'm going to make things. I think I'm going to make my shirt a red orange. So I'm going to put orange inside my shirt and I'm going to drop in some red too. Oh, I like that color there. Blending colors is a great way to make your artwork stand out. See how I kept those colors right inside the line there? That's really helpful because if I'm going to do the skin, that could bleed with the orange. So one thing to do is don't do the other things next to the skin while the skin's dry. But if you're going to, then just be very careful about it. Don't use too much water and take your time. Go carefully. Now, watercolor doesn't come with a perfect skin tone. Some people, this brown is perfect. For other people, brown plus water is perfect. For other people, you might want to add something to it. I'm adding a little orange and a little red to the brown plus water. I think that kind of works. See how I tested on a leg, not the face? I think I need a little yellow in there for me. Yes, that yellow in there. So that was brown and water and red and yellow. See how I went outside the leg a little bit? That's going to get covered over fine unless I do that rock right now. Then I could have an issue. So go carefully, let things stay in their spaces. If you want it to be lighter, less paint, more water. In this case, I'm just going to take that paint that I put down and move it to other spots. Wonderful. That's working. And you can mix whatever colors you need for your artwork. So if you have a different skin tone, I have more brown there. Maybe I still want a little yellow in there. Maybe a little bit of red. And let's see what that looks like. You decide what makes sense for your artwork. See how I'm being careful about where the color goes.
I think I'm going to have my friend wear a shirt that's turquoise too.
But watch this. I'm going to take blue and green, and I'm going to add a lot of water to it, and it's going to be lighter. So look how that is. That's lighter. But I don't want it to have too much water because that might flow away. So I'm going to wipe on my napkin a little bit and then just use what I have to flow around. Ooh, see how that's working there? It's the same color. It's just more paint or less paint. And I actually want to make these shorts darker. Still just blue and green.
So every color that I add to my painting, I am going to mix either with water or mix colors together. And I'm going to make things in the foreground bold. These are the details that are the most important. And I'm going to make these details stand out. I'll use the tip of my brush. I'll hold my brush tall so that just the tip touches where I need to have careful details. And then for those areas that I need to fill in, I'll still be careful not to cover my main details. I have a lot of rocks in mine, but I'm not using black. I am using purple and brown and some blue and maybe a tiny bit of black in some spots, but always mixed. And so this purple, brown, and blue really makes it stand out. Look how many different colors I can create just with those in order to give that rocky feel. Where does your picture take place? What is its surrounding area going to look like? Use your paint to fill in the whole artwork, except for those things that are supposed to stay white, like my papers and a little bit of white in the ocean, but there's a lot of other colors in the ocean too. I'm using light colors and dark colors. That creates contrast and helps things stand out. And then where I have things in the background, I use less paint. I have more water on my brush. My green has a lot of yellow in it. I'm not using the green just out of the container. I am mixing my colors and layering them, but letting them be lighter with more water. This dark color is helping my people stand out because of the light colors and bright colors of their shirt and arms. And oh, that's making it come alive. Wonderful. And then I'm going to see, well, what other areas need a little bit of detail. See how I use the tip of my brush to put a pattern on her shirt? Oh, I like that. And the ocean behind, watery and flowing. And then the beach, little details there to make that a beautiful place that it feels like you'd like to hang out there too. How wonderful is that? The sky has water and only a touch of blue, and we're there.
Now, stand back from your artwork when you're at this point and see, is your focal point, the thing that tells why you matter, does that stand out in the artwork? Is that what we look at? Or should you make some things darker and some things lighter so that we can see it? Do you have the details added that help us really know what's happening? Always look at your piece one more time when you think you're done with it. You've been making an amazing work of art that comes from your heart, that expresses who you are. And anytime you make art, that comes from your heart. So thank you for putting all of your heart and energy into it.
The PTA Reflections program is a really amazing opportunity to create some art and to also enter it in a contest. I did it when I was in elementary school even, and I remember the art and the writing and the music that I made and wrote, composed, and so I hope that you do this too. In order to enter, you're going to take your finished artwork to school, the actual artwork, by November 10th. It needs to go to Mr. Asobe in the 5th grade. And there's also a submission form to fill out that's available at the link right up here. And so I hope that you submit your beautiful artwork on the theme I Matter Because. Your reflection question is, how does your artwork demonstrate the theme I Matter Because? Tell us, explain it to us, let us know. And actually, the answer to that needs to be written on your submission form. So we're getting you there already. I hope you enter. Okay, I'll make more art with you next time. Ahoy ho!